Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here with a check of the First Alert forecast here, streaming an update for you. And boy, do we have a lot of weather to talk about. Temperatures cold this evening, rain is increasing this evening, and we will have periods of heavy rain, kind of a cold heavy rain at that, overnight tonight into tomorrow early morning, maybe a bit of a mid-morning break, and then we're talking torrential rain and an increasing risk of severe storms if we can manage to warm up enough as we get into tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. So a lot of weather to talk about. I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching. We're streaming across many platforms right now, YouTube being one of those. Also, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, First Alert Weather app, Atlanta News First app. Again, anywhere you can stream, we are streaming at this time. And want to welcome you in and remind you that if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, you can ask them. 470-777-9263. Again, that is 470-777-WANF. In fact, we'll go ahead and pop that up here for you. All you have to do is text in your question, much like you're texting a friend, family, a loved one. Just shoot us a text. Ask your weather questions, comments, concerns, and I'll be looking at those. And even if I don't get to them during the duration of this stream, we can always hop back and I'll just type back a text with a link to the forecast as well. Also, YouTube, Caleb Ethan O'Leary commenting on YouTube. Hello to you, Caleb. Thank you for streaming, for watching this evening. YouTube is a good place to not only stream, but also ask your questions as well. Let's go ahead and shift gears. Right to the forecast we go. First Alert radar kind of zoomed in on the northern half or so of North Georgia, the I-20 corridor and points north. Notice that rain is falling across the northeast metro, and we have even steadier rain building in from eastern Alabama at this time. This is switching radar over to a different mode here. And again, today is a First Alert weather day, and you're looking at First Alert radar tracking steady, at times heavy rain, moving into Cleburne and Randolph counties, and this will be in the city of Atlanta, west side first, and then the city proper, and then moving into the east metro as we go a little bit deeper into the evening, probably getting all the way over to Rockdale County, Conyers, Newton, Walton counties within the next hour and a half to 2 hours or so. So First Alert weather days, Tuesday and Wednesday. Because of the risk of heavy rain, which is almost a certainty at this point, but also the chance of severe storms. So I do want you to be aware that this is kind of a multifaceted impact. This storm system will bring both heavy rain. It's already pouring Cleburne, Randolph counties, or at least raining steadily enough over time to cause some ponding of water. And then we're tracking a greater risk of severe storms as we get into our Wednesday evening, Wednesday night, in the wee hours of Thursday morning. Now, we have turned back that Thursday First Alert weather day because it does look like by the time you're up and at them and outside, 6:30, 7:30, getting everybody out the door sort of time, we're actually going to see some vast improvement in the forecast. But the wee hours of Thursday morning, 1, 2, 3 a.m., there could still be heavy rain and still be some severe storms moving through portions of North Georgia. So still a time period to watch the first few hours of our Thursday. Timing out this rain as it continues to move off to the kind of, east-northeast, roughly. I'm going to give you the latest timing here. I want to make sure we update that speed. Moving in rather quickly. And just because it's moving in quickly doesn't mean it's going to move out quickly. We're going to have round after round of rain over the next couple of hours here, and then lasting into the night in some spots. So in Atlanta, the heavier rain, the steadiest of the rain will be in by 9:45. Decatur 9:59, Lawrenceville 10:30 or so. Again, Villa Rica by 8:41. Basically, you're already getting sprinkles and light rain, but you're going to notice in the next 5 minutes that rain will pick up in intensity. And while we're not getting any thunder, not detecting any lightning, there could be an embedded rumble or two while south of I-20 overnight tonight. Troup County, Randolph County, Alabama. Again, not detecting any at this time, but I wouldn't totally rule out a rumble or two. The interesting thing is, while we have pretty steady, if not at times heavy rain moving in, temperatures are flat out cold. We're 36 in Gainesville, 38 in Athens, down to 41 in Atlanta, only 40 in Eatonton. And even though LaGrange is one of our warm spots, you're only 50 right now. Randolph County in Alabama, only about 50, 52. Cleburne County, further to the north, 48 to 50 degrees. Rome, only 41. Ellijay's at 39. And some of our peaks this afternoon up in far north and northeast Georgia actually did have a light glaze of ice, a little bit of freezing drizzle. Again, up at the peaks, 3,200 feet and above, there was a little bit of ice. Today, temperature is just cold enough with some drizzle moving in for a light glaze of ice to form. But the focus is shifting to warmer temperatures. Again, kind of a gradual thing here. The increasing risk of torrential rain, heavy enough to cause street and road flooding. Also, the likelihood that we're going to have at least a few strong to severe thunderstorms get very close to, if not move into, North Georgia. Here is that latest risk of severe weather. This was updated today going into the afternoon hours. They bumped that slight risk of severe weather, level 2 out of 5, what you see in yellow here, up into portions of the metro, South Fulton, Clayton counties, Coweta County, Cleburne, Randolph counties in Alabama, Haralson County, Carroll County, Heard County, Troup County, over to Meriwether County, portions of Upson County, Pike and Spalding counties, Lamar County, generally along and to the west of I-75 and generally along and to the south of Interstate 20 is going to be the area to watch, especially along US 19 and points west, 85 corridor down through Coweta and Troup counties. Spot to watch for a greater risk of thunderstorms becoming strong to severe. Now, breaking down that risk, again, overall it is a lower risk, not a classic, severe weather outbreak setup locally, but still something to watch. Flooding is our biggest concern still. We do have a flood watch in effect. In fact, I can go ahead and bring that back to you here. Flood watch is in effect through early Thursday morning. This was also expanded to include pretty much all of metro Atlanta and much of North Georgia. 3 to 5 inches of rain likely within the watch area. A few spots could see 6, 7 inches of rain by the time all is said and done, between now and when it wraps up, early Thursday morning. That type of rain any time of year is a lot, but especially when we're in February, the soil is relatively dry, and we've had numerous hard freezes, so kind of not frozen or anything like that, but not, as quite as open as it would be if it had regular moisture and temperatures haven't been as cold. I know it's been warm the past week and a half, but we had all that cold weather, you must remember, before that. Also, everything is dormant. We're having pollen levels start to spike a little bit, but nothing really greening out yet. All the grass is still dormant and brown and dead or dormant, so there's not as much to soak up the water once it starts pouring rain, so it'll more readily run into the streets, run into the roads and pond, and then eventually that could run into creeks and then eventually larger rivers as well, causing rises on those bodies of water. So flooding is the biggest concern still. But as you see on the chart here, wind gusts 50 to 60 miles an hour, possibility, hail, going to be very small, probably smaller than quarters, and it would have to be quarter size or an inch in diameter or larger to prompt a warning, a severe thunderstorm warning. So small hail possible, large hail is unlikely, and there could be an isolated tornado or two, especially southwest of the metro, as we get into our Wednesday evening and especially the early nighttime hours into the wee hours of our Thursday morning, especially if you live east of Atlanta, though generally the risk by the time it gets that far east will be just a little bit lower. So let's run you hour by hour here. Again, 8 p.m. now, forecast model doing a decent job showing the heavier rain moving in from West Georgia, doing a pretty good job, and that gives me confidence that the forecast model doing a good job and handling the setup, the scenario fairly well. So let's go forward in time, watch how the heavier rain gets into Atlanta, and it's going to be raining for several hours overnight tonight. I would say at the very least a light to moderate steady rain, but at times it will be heavy where you see the oranges and the reds. We will probably have, hard to even call it a break, but out the door tomorrow morning there will be less of the steady rain, lots of drizzle, lots of mist like this afternoon, but the actual shower activity will be more hit or miss, kind of more scattered in nature. So tomorrow morning's commute probably wetter than this morning's commute, and wetter than this evening's commute, but it won't be as nasty as it's going to be for the ride home, the drive home Wednesday evening. Case in point, notice as we get into mid-morning, 10, 11 a.m., rain is increasing once again. It's becoming widespread, and we're having some downpours develop within kind of the larger blob, so to speak, of rain that's developing across North Georgia and metro Atlanta. So here's the problem. Notice how rain started mid to late morning. Watch what happens as we get into the afternoon. So this is 2 p.m., and this corridor right here, this is just a pause and what radar may look like 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. This, again, it's just a forecast model is thinking of what the radar will look like, but the setup is one that favors this exact scenario, and this computer model has been doing a good job with forecasting the weather over the past 24 hours, and there's not much of a reason to really question it. And just looking at the actual ingredients that are present, regardless of what the computer says, this is a setup that favors training downpours or heavy rain for a considerable amount of time over the same communities, the same areas. Again, we'll bring this clock back. So this is 2 o'clock paused tomorrow afternoon. Let's bring it back. Notice how it's raining almost in that same polygon, a little outside of it as well, but right over the I-85 corridor. Rain starts 9-10 a.m. There's some heavy rain in there, especially the west side of that polygon. And watch how between noon and 2-3 p.m., it's pretty much raining in that same area. Only slowly the heaviest rain is shifting out of that polygon and east of Atlanta, but it is still raining at 4 p.m. after starting to rain more heavily earlier in the afternoon and even the morning hours. We might get a little bit of a break later tomorrow afternoon and evening. Again, here we are, 9 p.m. There's plenty of rain to be had across North Georgia, but the areas, I-85 corridor, that saw the heavier rain earlier getting just a bit of a break will not last all that long. It is this final line that's moving in from eastern Alabama that is going to have the greater risk of some strong to severe thunderstorms. It is this blob of rain and embedded downpours. The downpours or thunderstorms are the areas that will be most at risk for some gusty winds, some small hail, perhaps some frequent lightning, at least occasional rumbles, and an isolated tornado. But watch how quickly this last band moves out. So here we are, 5 a.m. It's already starting to improve. Still raining moderately in Eatonton, down to Macon, Pike County, Monroe County, Forsyth, Georgia, Lamar County, these areas, still some rain, not torrential, but still raining a little bit. And then by the time we get into the core of the Thursday morning commute, we're going to be able to peel back that first alert weather day because it does look like we will be clearing out, drying out. Even if we do still have some lingering high water spots or maybe some trees down from storms overnight, the weather itself Thursday morning does look vastly improved. And again, not looking like a widespread severe weather outbreak overnight, but a night where it will be raining heavily, where it will be very stormy, probably wake you up, keep the pups up for sure, and a night that has the setup that could allow for a couple of storms, a few storms, to become strong to severe. But as mentioned earlier in the stream, rainfall, rain flooding is the biggest concern. And as you can see on this particular map, the red's indicating 3 inches of rain, the purple's indicating 4 inches of rain, the yellows and oranges 1 to 2 inches of rain. I think some will wake up to have already received 1 to 2 inches of rain by tomorrow morning, and we still have all of tomorrow and tomorrow night to get through. So as far as who sees the most, rain forecast models have occasionally been struggling with who sees the most. I think everyone does have a risk of some street and road flooding, even if you're not under that flood watch. But specifically, we're watching the I-85 corridor, the core of the metro from LaGrange, Carrollton, Peachtree City, Atlanta, McDonough, up to Lawrenceville, Gwinnett County, up in northern Forsyth, southern portions of Forsyth County, North Fulton County, Cobb County. These areas are going to be watching for an enhanced risk or greater than everyone else sort of risk of seeing some street and road flooding, especially because, of course, that's the city. Especially when you get up into Cobb County, Fulton County, DeKalb County, these areas, more pavement, harder for that water to drain into areas where it should be, not, pool where it shouldn't be. So we're going to be watching that potential. So first alert weather day tomorrow, there will be some thunderstorms afternoon, more so evening and night. So initially just rain, maybe a rumble or two, and then could be some noisy storms Wednesday evening, Wednesday night. Thursday, that 40% chance of rain is very early. We'll be drying out, and it'll turn cooler and breezier. We're waking up to, many will wake up to a light freeze on Valentine's Day morning, sunshine 50s in the afternoon. Back into the 60s Saturday with some scattered rain, so not the prettiest of weekends. Scattered rain Saturday, first alert weather day Sunday, yet another front sweeping very quickly through, but it's going to bring in a line of storms with it early Sunday morning, and a few of those storms could pack a punch. They could be strong or severe, and of course, another round of heavy rain, kind of the safest, the most likely bet there, even if we don't see any severe weather. So that could impact the earliest of Sunday plans, and then sharply colder as we get into Sunday afternoon. Temperatures will drop like a rock, even as we clear out. Notice that 65, that's more in the morning. Notice that 28, that's where we will be in Atlanta by Monday morning. Stuck in the 40s with sunshine all day Monday, and then another light freeze is likely Tuesday. Sharon Beard saying, my brassicas and my garden are going to love all these raining days and cool weather. Yes, they will. They're going to love the rain for sure. Now, those aren't the least hardy plants, but keep in mind we do have freezing conditions in the forecast there, Sharon, as we get to next week. We need to pull those covers back out. You sound like a gardener, Sharon, so if you have any more sensitive plants next week after we get past all the storminess, freezing overnight temperatures, could be a couple hard freezes even, especially outside of the core of the metro as we get into next Monday, Tuesday morning. So make sure you have those plants covered. Whimsy saying, really hoping the weekend is kind to us. Storm prediction day 5 warning got me nervous. Yeah, they are. The Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting a portion of West Georgia as having a risk of severe weather. That is going to be Saturday night into early Sunday morning. So we're going to be watching this here pretty closely. The risk of severe weather is certainly there. Something we'll be keeping you updated on in the days to come. Again, here is the latest. This is for, oh, sorry, we need to bring it back up. We'll bring it back up here for you. And to show you, if you're following along on YouTube, Whimsy brought up a good point. You know, those, as we mentioned here, and as this graphic shows you, this forecast is for 7 a.m. Saturday to 7 a.m. Sunday. Our time of concern, though, is going to be Saturday night into early Sunday morning. And notice that the Storm Prediction Center has already highlighted West Georgia as having the greater threat of some severe weather. That is not with the system that's moving in now. This is with the second system, actually a stronger cold front and ahead of much colder air. Again, Saturday night and Sunday morning, the time to watch here for North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Could again see some gusty winds and perhaps a couple of tornadoes. Greater risk of severe weather south of I-20 in Central and South Alabama. But some of these could last into the night, move into North Georgia, perhaps even Metro Atlanta as we get into the wee hours, the early portion of our Sunday morning. And then behind the storms, it's going to turn much colder, but also much drier, much sunnier, much calmer. Caleb saying, I'm in Alpharetta. Well, I have gusty winds and heavy rain. You will have heavy rain. Your chance of severe weather in Alpharetta is low, but you will have heavy rain, Caleb, in Alpharetta. That is a sure thing, but your risk of severe weather is lower. Could get some wind as we get into tomorrow night into early Thursday morning, but I would say the risk is greater to your south and west. But yes, it is possible you could have some gusty winds, but it's a certainty that you will have multiple periods of heavy rain overnight tonight into tomorrow evening and night once again, as this storm system only slowly makes its approach and then clears North Georgia over the next 36 hours or so. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and for watching, and also remind you that First Alert meteorologist Patrick Pete is back on TV tonight at 10 p.m. on Peachtree TV, Atlanta CW, and then joined by First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez tonight at 11 p.m. on WANF. You can always stay updated. Streams like this one, Atlanta News First Plus. Ask your questions, much like Whimsy, Caleb, Sharon, and Caleb also at the beginning of the chat. Thank you all for asking the questions. Again, that's what's most beneficial about a stream just like this one. And you can also get updates in the First Alert weather app. We have multiple videos in there detailing you on what's going on here over the next 24 to 36 hours, more on the heavy rain and flooding risk, but also that risk of a few severe thunderstorms, especially Southwest Metro. Going to leave you with a gloomy look. This is Truist Park, northwest side of town. Already raining a little bit out there, but heavier rain is on the way this evening, and there will be more heavy rain as we get into our Wednesday, a First Alert weather day. Heavy rain, risk of severe storms will impact your plans. Keep an eye on the forecasts, and we will be there to keep you updated.